Hey, there you go. We are live. I am Scott Simpson, Nimble W Numbers. Excited to be back with you. I'm talking wide receiver 2 theory this summer. I've got a slate of guests coming up. And the very first one of my favorite people in all of fantasy football, is Mr. Mike Reedy from the Undroppables. Mike, welcome. I'm so excited to chop it up and talk fantasy football, wide receiver 2 theory with you today, brother.
Super excited to be here, Scott. Especially, I think you're the last guest I had on my own podcast, and I had such a great time when we did the Money Shot podcast. Man, it was a good time. Always a good time talking to you, Scott. Always.
You're the only person who gave me more of a hard time on that show about the name, and I loved it. Like everybody else just acted like it was a normal show, and the Money Shot wasn't a ridiculous title looking to be, egged and mocked. So I appreciate you keeping it real, keeping it
I,
real.
I can't believe no one else mocked that name at all. I mean, I
No.
think I gave you Map of Hawaii as a regular saying.
No, I love it. Well, we have a little fun to start off before we do get into wide receiver 2 theory, which I love, and I'm excited that you're going to talk about wide receivers and what you think is going to happen with some of the undervalued wide receivers this year. But first, I put out a little tweet today for our viewers and for people on Twitter, and what I wanted to know is, what does this guy do for a living? Wrong answers only. It's one of my bits here on Twitter, and I pulled your screen, your avatar. Sorry, right, put it right on the screen there. This is from your Twitter account, so nothing too special. First, before we get into the answers, talk us through this picture. I want to know, you're looking good. You're out and about. What's going on here?
Oh, that was after a Tough Mudder.
Oh, so you giving it your all. You got electrocuted and all that good stuff.
I got electrocuted and everything, which was awesome. At the end of that, you just kind of go stiff as a board and then fall into the water.
Your hair does show a little bit of the spike. You could tell.
I would say that I probably had more hair just a couple of years ago than I do now, too, by the looks of it. Um, also, man, I'm hating having to wear reading glasses. Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, it was very spiky-ish then. Believe
Well,
it or
let
not,
me
it
ask.
was the same color. It looks darker in that picture though.
It does look a little dark. It's probably the mud. Probably the mud in your hair.
Probably the mud.
Uh, I'm really excited to have you on. Phil is jumping in here. First time. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk wide receiver. Before we do that, though, I want to know, Mike, what do you think this guy does? If you didn't know you and you saw this picture, what would your wrong answer be for what does this guy do as a career?
Gigolo.
You know what? That probably the best answer would have been male gigolo. Let's look down and see some of the favorites that the fantasy friends that we follow jump in here. Bo McBrayer said he sold me a beachfront condo in Missouri once, ripped me off, but was such a great storyteller. So
Bo
he had a
wasn't
little
supposed to
reckoning with
tell
Bo
anybody
McBrayer.
about that deal. That was part of the bargain. He wasn't supposed to tell anyone.
This is supposed to be like a trade he made with you, probably where you ripped him off for like Todd Gurley or something. He fleeced you for something. I don't know. St. Louis Rams in the previous iteration, Missouri. I don't know when you guys were trading, but he's coming for you. This was the new one. Watches you through your window at night. Kicker making $2.26 million a year.
I wish. That would be a great job.
Yeah, I like this one. That's Mitch King of the Grill Floyd, 6-time defending chili cook-off winner at the Kenosha County Fair.
That's a really, really good one. Talk about creative.
No, that is high-end hairstylist, travel agent. We got
Two
Phil
snaps
says
up.
he's the simpleton tilt-a-whirl operator on breaking, looking for a place to smoke 3 cigs in 15 minutes. That one is detailed. I love
Arnie.
that. I love that.
I
What
don't
would
think
your
I have enough
brand be?
tattoos.
No,
What?
if you were going to go smoke a cigarette on break, Mike, what would your go-to, back in the day, or if you ever have smoked a cigarette, what was your
Uh,
cigarette of choice?
I smoked a cigarette once and turned green. It was a Marlboro Red.
That's
I'll
heavy.
smoke a cigar here and there. I don't like cigarettes much.
No, me neither. Last time I smoked a cigarette, I had a panic attack and laid on the ground. So we're gonna move on from cigarettes. Paid assassin, Todd from PA says, fixes your cable. Fantasy football expert, Frank. That's mean. I said wrong answers only. You're giving him a jab there. Basement, gutters, and roof. Your boy over there, and our boy, but your coworker Tommy Moe says sanitation services, quote
Yes,
unquote.
that's right.
Yeah, professional Joker like dude. So you got a little
Is that why
Joker vibe going.
were we coming in with the Sopranos music originally? Because it appears people think I'm a gangster, at least two.
But they do. The Sopranos theme did fail. I wanted to do it because of people thinking that you're tough, But yeah, pillow fluffer looks
That's
like he
really
owns WCW. So you got a lot of love here. My Twitter's my friend, and lots of Mike Reedyisms on the tweeters. Oh, someone says Tim Pearson says you sell cow shit. So
people buy it. That's all I can say is
that's
people buy it.
people do buy it. That's exactly right. And real quick though, speaking of things that people bought, and it's a good segue here. Are you buying this? This happened yesterday. What do you think about this kind of, I don't know, not nimble with numbers? I would say the opposite of being nimble with your numbers, being reckless with your numbers. Des Bryant and Luke Sawhook, together partners in crime, taking over the internet and just trouncing all over the good people's thought processes yesterday. What did you think about this particular thing?
I looked at it and I said, "Oh man, come on, Luke. There's like 32 kickers in the league. Maybe sparingly, one team might have two here and there, right? So almost all kickers are starters, and then there's a bunch of practice squad running backs, bringing the average salary down for running backs. So it's not really a fair comparison. Kelly spelled it out well. I think you shared it after I shared her tweet. Kelly from Phoenix broke it down in deep detail there. Um, I I don't know. Luke's pretty good at breaking the internet, though. I give him high props for that. He does it here and there with some spectacularly crazy tweets.
I think what's interesting about them is he believes in them when he puts them out there. Like it's the earnestness behind the this is a problem, and he's not wrong, but it's like a real surface level understanding of the problem. Like you can't compare hundreds of people to dozens of people. That doesn't in the scope of this, it doesn't work. So
He's a very eager young man. He's a really good kid. Um, I think
yep.
that he just likes to go out there and punch that stuff out there as quick as he can. So maybe that's the
Yes.
surface touching only, just so we can get it
Yeah.
out there quick.
Yeah, I think so too. I also think there's something to be said about the shock and the jock of it all.
He's I
And
wish
I think
was.
what sorry, go ahead.
I said I wish I was as good at the shock tweets as Luke is. I'm not so good
I
at it.
think here's the problem with people like you and me. People, if we make a shock tweet, they don't believe us. They think we're joking and we're too smart. And they don't trust us. They don't trust our earnestness. They go, "This guy's giving a hard time here." Whereas Luke says it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this baby bird believes this shit. Oh my goodness, look at it, he's so cute." So it's a little different. We're not cute. We're old guys. So people are like, "I don't trust those sons of bitches. Look at them. They're really wiry." He's got gray hair. He was in a Tough Mudder. No, thank you.
When I do it, I am doing it to be funny. So I guess it's truthful.
Okay. All right.
Guess
Me too. I'm doing it just to be ironic and silly. I like causing a stir. Not gonna lie, it's fun. But
it is.
that's
It is. I told somebody recently. They asked me how come it was a shock if I say something crazy or inappropriate on social media, and I said, well, because I never do it. So when I do, it's like throwing the cans down the hall and waking up the whole world, because I just don't do it that often.
people don't expect it coming from you, which is true.
No. That's why I like to do it every once in a while. It makes it a lot more fun for me.
Yeah. No. Well, thank you for the small talk. I love it. I always love joking around, having a little bit of fun. But here's what we're here to do, and I'll explain to the people. We're going to kind of go over three categories you might have it in the wide receiver 2 lens. One's undervalued wide receiver 2s, or just general undervalued wide receivers that we think can outperform their ADP and are a value and a steal to you in your drafts. Then we'll look at rookies and then potential league winners. Now, I don't put league winners in light terms. You're going to get maybe a league winner. Like last year, Zay Jones was a league winner. Christian Kirk, league winners. They're being drafted in the later rounds, 10 plus rounds later. You get those guys, they end up being top 10, top 15 wide receivers. They help you get over the edge. You're not going to get that one guy and then win your league, but you need to get that one guy. Like last year, I got Zay Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Justin Jefferson. So you have to hit on several of the league winners to get into that category. But well, those are the three main ones we're going to do. So let's start with undervalued wide receiver twos. I'll let you kick it off. Just in the ADP so far, how have you kind of been approaching your wide receiver builds? And then what are some of the wide receiver twos that you can think about off the top of your head that are outperforming their ADP this year?
Well, I have a bunch, by the way. Like I came really prepared with lots of not only just someone I consider a receiver two on scoring, but also on their team. So they're not necessarily the guy who's going to see the most targets on their team. Um, I like Mike Evans right now. We're not sure who his quarterback's going to be. I mean, we are. It's going to be Baker Mayfield. Is Baker really as bad as everybody says he is? Probably not. He's not worthy of having been a number one draft pick. But Evans right now has an overall ADP of 70, right? That's the 30th wide receiver off the board. Last season, I know it was Tom Brady. He finished as a wide receiver 16 on the season. He had 127 targets, 77 receptions, broke 1,000 yards yet again. Ho-hum, boring Mike Evans, broke 1,000 yards again. He had 37% of the air yards, 19% target share. I don't think it matters who's at quarterback. I think you're going to see that kind of share on targets, air yards, similar to what he always has. So as though being drafted as a wide receiver 30, the guy finishes top 20 almost every single year. I don't think it matters who the quarterback is. I think we're still going to see guys like him and Godwin produce. So Mike Evans is somebody I actually target because of his ADP.
I like that a lot, and I think if you look, yeah, and I want to just mention too that Evans has been so consistent because not that he's quarterback proof, but he's had Brady, he's had Jameis Winston. I forget even in between there who he had. But he in before that, but he's always been able to consistently perform. No matter who the quarterback has been, those 10 straight years of 1,000 yards or 9 straight years of 1,000 yards. So if you can get a wide receiver who gets 1,000 yards or close to 1,000 yards, and he's, it stands out because that offense is in flux. You don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback. So,
yeah, we don't, and it's fair, right? But he just seems to produce no matter who's throwing him the ball, and that's why I have him there. He's somebody I look at drafting.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. Somebody for me, and right away, people are gonna, not, I mean, maybe not overlook him, but we have Calvin Ridley coming into Jacksonville, and he is now being drafted as the wide receiver one on that team, not Christian Kirk last year. And Christian 11 or kind of good, a little bit of good, not bad in the realm of things. Currently, right now, each year, you got him in the 11th round. So this year, he's not that his ADP. And given the fact that Calvin Ridley is going to come in there and potentially be the number one, but we don't know yet. We don't know exactly what the offense is going to look like. And Christian Kirk does have rapport. He's got a year now under his belt with Trevor Lawrence. So I do like Christian Kirk as a sleeper to Calvin Ridley. I also like Calvin Ridley, by the way. Calvin Ridley, I think, is going to come back strong this year. What do you think about the offense in Jacksonville and what it's going to look like?
Well, I had Christian Kirk as one of mine as well, so I think I'm in agreement with you there, right? His ADP is 65, wide receiver 28 off the board. He finished as a wide receiver 11 last year. So 133 targets. I can't see that being something they back off of because of how their offense runs. He's pretty much the slot guy. I don't think we're going to see big changes with how they're going to approach what they do. And Ridley hasn't been on the field for
No.
2 years. I'll take Christian Kirk with confidence at his ADP and think that he beats it every time.
Yeah. I mean, last year he had, like you said, 133 targets. That's top 15 in the NFL. So let's say he loses 15 of those targets. Well, he's still at 120 targets, which makes him 20th in the NFL, right? So I don't think he loses that much with Ridley coming in. I think that if anything, it's going to be complimentary for Kirk. So, I'm on board at that ADP as well. Let me ask you: is there any player that you have is kind of like a sleeper or somebody who, not the Jalen Waddles who, we know they're going to be performing. Maybe they're not going to outperform Tyreek Hill, but they'll be up there in the performance in the top 15, maybe the top 20. But are there any other guys who, maybe people are overlooking, maybe on, the Broncos, maybe a Tim Patrick? I'm not sure, if you're, Raheed Shaheed. What are some of the later round guys that you're kind of looking at in those rounds, maybe 12 to 15, where you're kind of solidifying your back end at wide receiver?
So I like Juju Smith-Schuster.
Nice call.
He's the new slot receiver in New England, and he's pretty late. I mean, Jacoby Myers last year had 42% of the air yards and a 32% target share on the Patriots. You're looking at Juju potentially getting like 130 targets. So he's someone I like relatively late. And there's somebody I like who's healthy that's real late as a sleeper is Curtis Samuel, Scott.
Oh, that is really late, and that is a super sleeper. That's like a wide receiver 3.
Yes, or 4.
Who could come up and potentially do some damage in the wide receiver 2 game.
He might not finish as a high-end wide receiver 2, but he'll probably be at the back end of
I love that.
wide
That is my
receiver 2.
call.
Yeah, I mean, his overall ADP is like 197. He's free. So you get him at the end of the draft. If he doesn't work out, you just cut him. Who cares? But his upside's big. I mean, last season he was dinged up, and he still finished as a wide receiver 34. It's because he runs with the ball and catches the ball. I mean, he does a little of everything. So healthy, I like him as a late round draft pick.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that too. And for my money as well, if you're looking in the later rounds, you're looking for upside. Really, you're looking for offenses that have that volume that they're gonna either be trailing or needing to throw the football a lot. So this year, I think Juju, for me, if he can get healthy, he can be a nice little sleeper because I think they're going to be trailing in their games this year. I don't think the Patriots are favored to win 8 games. I know you're up there, Mike. I don't be mean to you in the frigid Northwest or East or wherever you're Northeast. But you're in for some cold Mac Jones years now after Tom Brady. What do you think about your team?
Well, I mean, dynasties end. It's what happens, right? So we had 20 years of winning. How many other NFL franchises can say they had 20 years of winning? So we're really spoiled. I mean, I'm kind of tired of some of the Patriots fans thinking that if they win 9 games, it's an epic failure, where, you don't have some of those Hall of Famers on the team. It's just how it works. I think they'll be better than everyone expects. I actually thought they'd make the playoffs last year. They missed it by a game. I have them around the same this year. They should be a game or 2 better than last year. I like Juju, by the way, this year. I think he's a great late round draft pick.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think that there's a lot of Juju hate.
Oh yeah.
The fantasy industry is interesting because a lot of the fantasy folks are dynasty Devi focused, or they have professional, semi-professional scouting degrees that they've framed on their walls from their colleges that they went to. They have their own scouting reports that they download and share with each other, and then when their guy doesn't get used the right way, they blame coaches and whatever. So I think is a value right now that maybe he's not being overlooked, but maybe he's being drafted a little late in the game. And that is, and right now, I don't know if people are in love with Alan Lazard or not, right? Going into New York, but you do have him as a wide receiver 2 far down the list because Garrett Wilson is the top dog for sure. But
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is going to get him some Alan Lazard. I mean, he's a huge, huge target. If you put him in the slot, he's 6'5" in the slot. It's just ridiculous. He's like a middle of the seam. He can break that seam when they're on the 20, 25-yard line. Alan Lazard, he's looking for him right down the middle of the field. It's hard to miss him against linebackers and safeties. So I like Alan Lazard. You can get him cheaper than Garrett Wilson. I love Garrett Wilson too, though. So a lot of these offenses, I think they will both they have the opportunity to produce more than one wide receiver that's going to be fantasy relevant, and you're going to have to start him every single week. So I think eventually Alan Lazard will move from the flex, hopefully, into that wide receiver 3 slot that you have in your rotation.
Is it me or is Garrett Wilson undervalued right now himself? Like,
Yes.
you're going from Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers, and somehow his value's decreased. I just don't understand how that's happened. Especially
People
with
are
all the
not
talk
smart.
of how great Aaron Rodgers is. It's really weird. Yeah, that's
It
weird.
is really weird. Super weird. Okay, so the goal of the show isn't to keep people on here forever. So we got about 10 more minutes. So I want to know, who is your number 1 rookie? I'm just going to make you pick one. Wide receiver 230 rookie who can potentially bust out, be in the middle of the year, be it near the end of the season. And sometimes there's different breakout paths for different players. But is there somebody that you're targeting in your drafts that you want to walk away with this rookie wide receiver every single time?
I like Zay Flowers.
Mhm.
I like Zay Flowers because we have looks like Lamar's Jackson's healthy. The wide receivers ahead of him are Rashad Bateman and Odell Beckham Jr. Both of them have a history of getting injured or at least dinged up. And Zay
Yep.
Flowers was pretty much a stud at BC. So I like his chances. Jackson's more accurate than people will like to believe. He was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league before he got hurt last year. He wasn't as accurate when he came back at the end of the year, but I mean, I think he was banged up. So Zay Flowers is a guy I would want to grab late at wide receiver, just because I think he's going to get the opportunities at some point during the year to produce for you.
Yeah, and right now he's wide receiver 55, which is, I mean, that's very sexy. Uh, Overall, his ADP is 142. So you're talking end of round 12 in a 12 team, which is nice. And he is 13 picks, ahead of, or 14 picks ahead of Quentin Johnston, who, I mean, he has a great chance. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna definitely have big games where he puts you over the top. But you're paying a price for Johnston where you're not paying a price for Flowers. And interestingly enough, go ahead.
That was my deciding factor on Flowers, by the way. He's
Yeah,
free in comparison to everybody else.
he's super free down there. There's not a lot of competition for him in that realm. Now, if you're really deep sleeper, I just bring this up because he's wide receiver 69. Jaden Reed at Green Bay. If you're into that, baby, if it's your bag, he does have some potential. But then you're working with potentially a rookie-esque quarterback in Jordan Love. He's not a rookie, but I mean he's never played a full season in the NFL. So this is in quote unquote his rookie campaign, and so it's hard to have a lot of faith in him. He might be more DFS worthy for shots in the dark. But I do like your call. I'm going to lean his way just because of the price. It's so perfect. Wide receiver 55. He might just go undrafted in some of these home leagues where people aren't paying attention.
Well, and then he's a waiver ad, right? Again, free. Um,
Free. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like free. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I grew up with 5 brothers and sisters. Something's free. I was getting it.
Yeah,
Nothing
exactly.
wrong with that at all. Yeah. My parents not Catholic though, but my parents did have twins. Nothing wrong with being Catholic, but they had twins. And so you just throws a monkey wrench in there when you get an extra bang for your buck, literally. So
I'm
sorry,
a
Dad.
recovered Catholic, so I understand where you're going there.
Hey, it's okay. I love Catholics. My in-laws come from Catholic families. That's why my wife is here. So God bless them and their 7 brothers and sisters. So, yeah, but they're great. We're going to stay with them on a trip to Canada in a couple days. So, yeah, more family, the more love. That's how it goes. So, yeah. All right. Last thing before we get out of here, I'll let you plug all your plugs, of course, because we're not going to not let people talk about where they're from and what they're doing and what they're um I want to know, is there any wide receiver? Now, it doesn't have to be a wide receiver, too. It can be just any kind of wide receiver that you think this year has the potential to give you that edge that you need. Maybe not the league winner necessarily, but this is somebody who, like last year, if you looked at the Jaguars situation, Zay Jones had an opportunity to be something bigger than he's ever been before. Just given the role, given how that offense needed a big wide receiver, and they didn't have Calvin Ridley, who underperformed their careers, came into Jacksonville and really just balled out, right? Is there anybody this year that you're kind of getting the vibe on in any situation, maybe not tight end, but wide receiver wise, that you're thinking, okay, so this is somebody who I just want them they're like my ace in the hole necessarily.
I'm gonna go with a tight end. What do you think of
Ooh.
that? All
Is
right,
it a tight end that might be being used as a wide receiver more often than not?
Well, there's one that I would go with there, and that would be Gesicki if you want somebody used as a wide receiver more, and he'll be in the 2 tight end offense all year. So Mike Gesicki, somebody you can get really late, and the other guy finished as a tight end 5 last year, and I drafted him in Scott Fishbowl, and heads turned from all over the Boston Live draft. What the hell? Someone drafted Taysom Hill.
Oh, tell me more.
So all right, so he finished last year as the TE5 on scoring. The knock on him is people hate that he's not a real tight end. What do I care? I'm playing fantasy. I just want the
Right.
point. I don't care if he's a
Right.
real tight end. That doesn't matter to me. You don't know when he's going to do great. You don't know when he's going to do bad. Is something that people say. Weeks 13 through 17 last year, the last 4 weeks of the fantasy season, he had 11.34 points, 10.2 points, 11.6 points, 12.56 points. He was much more consistent than some other tight ends, believe it or not. Kamara's probably going to be suspended. The guy plays fullback and ran for 575 yards and 7 TDs last year. He had 9 catches for 77 yards and 2 more TDs. I think the word out of OTAs was he's getting much more involved in the receiving game as well. He is their goal line guy. So again, you're talking about another tight end who's, I guess, a receiving player, even though he's not really a receiver. He's more of a fullback, but he's also free and has the potential to return top 5 numbers at his position. It's hard to pass on that for me.
It is hard to pass. Now, here's the question for you. Can you wait on it and then get it later for a cheaper price? Is that why the heads were turning necessarily? Because value is value at the end of the day. Like sometimes
I took him 2 rounds earlier than I would, but again, Scott Fishbowl and the scoring settings made me do that.
I understand that. I understand that completely. Okay. I'll tell you my guy. My guy is somebody who you're probably either, if he's not in your area, you're not going to get to draft him. He's not somebody that, he's free and you can get him. It's Devontae Smith. I love him. And last year going out, he just balled. He just balled. And he's wide receiver 12. So you're picking him. But I think I have a sneaking suspicion in home leagues he might fall a little bit. I do. I think that because AJ Brown shadow him in their offense and in people's minds. I think it's the essence of wide receiver 2 theory. It's that you overinflate the importance of wide receiver, and it's not something that is it's subjective, but it's quantifiable. You can look at it every year, look at the data that shows that people go all in with their ADP and then they miss out. And so ADP is a construct that we create. And the truth is Denny Carter would say, ADP is a myth. It's something that we create. So you're Taysom Hill grabbing him. That's a myth. You're just like, ADP is stupid. I'm just going to take my guy. This is what I want. Which is actually how you should do it. So, this year I will get Devonta Smith on my team and he will ball out and I will win my leagues. So
I love that. He was in my notes as one of those second wide receivers on his team that you want as well, by the way. I
yeah,
think he's somebody you want if you can get him. He was being drafted as the 12th wide receiver. He finishes, what, the 10th last year? It's
yeah,
probably going to be top 10 again this year. So, I mean, it doesn't seem like a huge jump in value, but like you said, I think people are going to be jumping at top wide receivers on a team over him, especially in home leagues, and he'll probably slide a little.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, I like him a lot
yeah.
too.
I mean, you're not talking like 3 rounds, but you could get him half a round later or something like that. I'm going to answer Phil's question on Taysom. I'm checking him up here on the ADP. 4 for 4 ADP, getting the skinny on the tight end. Taysom Hill currently, and it's taking a second to load here, Phil. Sorry, my internet. It does. I think my whole family decided to get on and start streaming while I'm doing this, which is I want to stream Netflix, and they're using my bandwidth. But
He's the 21st
yeah,
tight
you
end
can get.
off the board right now. He's being drafted as
Yeah,
TE
he's
20.
late. You could get him late. Very late
Great.
in the game. So he might be free. Yeah. Excellent. Well,
Wow.
Mr. Mike, where are you applying your wares this year? What's your plan? Where are you working? I think I know, but what's going on? You
I'm still with the
Heartbreaker?
Undroppables. Yeah, you'll see Moneymakers and Heartbreakers and Untangling the Wire with the Undroppables, and then my podcast with my friend Larry, Cheat Sheet for DFS, which you were happy enough to. We were happy to have you on before. So those are the places you'll find me. Obviously on Twitter, I've been pumping out a bunch of threads this off season because I was trying to up my my tweeting game a little bit. I wanted to
like
be
it.
better like the young people. I just love the young people.
I envy the young people because they can just say whatever they want and they believe it, and that is really something special.
Some of the old people do too, Scott. Come on. I've seen
They
some really
do.
crazy stuff this summer.
I saw a guy getting arrested and he was praying to Trump. And that made my day because he was crying as he was a white guy and the cops were surrounding his car. He's like, Trump, save me, Trump, save me. I just was dying inside. I was like, this is so perfect.
I saw that and laughed too because I was like, oh my God, he's really praying to Donald Trump. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that takes a whole nother, like he's entered your subconscious now. That's so scary. So, well, Mike, this is my favorite thing to do, honestly, is to talk fantasy football with people. And you're honestly in my realm of favorite people to talk to. You might be my favorite person to talk to. So I'm so glad that you were my first guest here. I do have some other guests coming on. I got Denny Carter coming on Friday. When I come back from vacation, I'm going to have Bo on. I'm going to have Nick Strip on. I'm going to have some other friends on. So I'm excited. Thank you for kicking it off. And we'll see if what you say gets trended. If people kind of pick up on some of your picks, or if you are your own leader in the clubhouse, which I uniquely, I think you are, which I like.
Yeah, I go based off my own research. I don't like the echo chamber. So I'll live and die by my own stuff, man. And if, sometimes I get it wrong.
Okay.
What you gonna do?
Sometimes you get it right and then you win big. So
Yes. Yes, you do.
Yeah. Well,
And that's why I like those late picks like we were talking about, because you hit on one and boom.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, please do go follow Mike Reedy. It is at Mike Reedy FF on Twitter. You can go follow me too, Nimble W Numbers, but follow Mike twice. 3 times, because you follow him twice, you'll unfollow him. So follow him 3 times. That way you get his attention. And let him know he's got good hair. Denny Carter would be happy to have your hair when he, is mature.
Oh, he has the best hair, that Denny Carter guy. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
I'm
he blow
envious.
dries it. He blow dries.
Yeah.
Question for you, Mike. Are you coming to the expo?
I do not plan on going to the expo again this year. I haven't been ever, by the way. I didn't make any plans to go for some reason this year. I don't know. Eventually, I'll
If
go.
you ever do
Maybe
go,
next year.
if you ever do go, you have a hangout waiting for you with me and Bo and the crew. Just
Are you
mad
going
love.
this year?
Me and Mike are driving up, and Justin Bruni, new dad Justin Bruni, is coming with us. So yeah, we got no Bo though. Bo's going to be at a wedding the week before, so he can't take a week off, weekend off, do a wedding, come back, and then go again. And it just doesn't, work Work is
Yeah,
not
it
like
gets to be too much. Yeah.
no.
I
But
understand that. Well, and I have some travel with work, so I was unsure of where I would be. So I wasn't making any plans to go anywhere like that.
well, if you ever do, like I said, man, we would love to have you because Mike
I, I,
Reedy,
I
top
want to go,
shelf.
by the way. I wanted to go last year really bad and I didn't do it. And this year I wanted to go, and then I was like, oh God, I don't know where I'm gonna be on the planet. Work's taking me all over the place.
Mm,
I can't like Bo saying I can't travel somewhere, come back on Friday and fly to the expo. Like I can't do that.
no,
Uh,
no,
it's
real life. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So if I wasn't a teacher, I couldn't do it either because the summer is just a great time to not work
Yes,
for
it is.
teachers. So
Yeah.
well, Mike, this has been tremendous. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Go follow him, and we'll see you next time here for Nimble, for Mike, for everybody else. Go draft yourself some wide receivers. Start your draft, Danny Carter style, 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers, and then you'll win your draft. That's how it goes. All right, we'll talk to you guys next time.
Talk to you later. Thanks, Scott. Thanks so much for having me, man.
Oh man, this is a pleasure. Every single time I talk